Welcome to Coppell High School. My name is Mike Hasso, and I am the principal here. It's my great honor to be the principal here. I want to first of all start by thanking you for your time today. We know how precious your time is, especially here at the dinner hour and everyone rushing perhaps home from work or picking up kids and all the other things that you have to do in your terribly busy lives. At this time, I'd like to introduce some of my cohorts here who are going to share information with you. First, Tabitha Branham, who's the CISD Director of Leading and Learning. She will be sharing information from the district perspective. Kayla Brown, who is the Associate Principal here at Coppell High School, will also be taking part. Chastity Lansdale, who is one of our 9th grade counselors here at the high school, and Sharon Thurlkill, who's another of our 9th grade counselors. And then we're very fortunate also to have Debbie Fruithandler, who is our lead counselor here at Coppell High School. Ryan Lamb is an assistant principal in the 9th grade office here at Coppell High School, and somewhere out there in that sea of people, I think I saw Miss Dina Harrell, who's the Director of Advanced Academics. Miss Harrell, there she is in the back, so thank you for coming. If I didn't mention some other dignitary that's here, that's solely because I'm blinded by the lights coming at me and I didn't have a chance to greet you. But we're glad that you're here. The purpose for tonight, as far as Coppell High School, and me specifically, is to start our relationship with you as your new principal if you elect to come to Coppell High School. For some of you, it's a continuation. We may have your kids here. I may know you from band or other activities, or just know you from my previous stint here in the early 2000s, so we're glad to see you. Ms. Branham's going to talk from the district perspective about the implementation of House Bill 5, both here and at New Tech, the high school structure. And then my cohorts here from my campus will be talking to you more specifically about what that means here at Coppell High School. Just for your, the counselors will also talk to you about the actual registration process. So in other words, okay, now I understand House Bill 5, the graduation requirements that my child will face. How do I actually go about signing them up, or how do my children select the courses? How do you know which courses to select? How do we sign up for those? We're going to try and provide you that information tonight as well. Last, just to kind of recap some of the schedule of events that we've had as far as helping your child and you transition to the high school. We had at CHS our Learner Expo, which was rescheduled, unfortunately, from Texas Public Schools Week. That was the ICE Day. And we saw many of you here, many of our 8th grade parents and students. We were very excited to have you come and check out some of the learning, check out a lot of the clubs and athletics and organizations that we are proud to offer you if you come to Coppell High School. Of course, we have our meeting this afternoon. And then next week, your children will tour Coppell High School just like they did New Tech and just like they've toured Coppell High School in the past. We call those 8th grade shadow days. Just for your information, on the 25th of March, that will be when West comes. On the 26th of March, that's when East comes. And then on the 27th of March, that's when North will be visiting. So we will have a time where your children do come to our campus, to our facilities, and have a chance to ask questions that they might have at that point. We will also, after all of those information sessions are done, we will send your children home, I believe, with hard copy information about graduation plans and House Bill 5 information, those kind of things. But that will happen after the shadow days. We're recording this session so that if you want to go back and review any of the information that we've given you, or we've had a number of parents say, I'm out of town on business, I can't come on that one day, it will be posted to our school website and I believe our district website as well. So we're trying to be as responsive to your needs for information and the demands of your schedules as we can. So at this point, I'm going to turn it over to Ms. Branham and we'll begin.
Thank you, Mr. Hasso, for that warm welcome. Well, it is a pleasure and an honor to be here with you this evening. In case you did not know me or have not had the opportunity to visit with me, my name is Tabitha Branham, and I am the Executive Director of Leading and Learning. I've been in Coppell for over 15 years as an educator, as the Associate Principal here at Coppell High School, and as the Director of New Tech. I now serve in Central Office, and one of my responsibilities is to support our secondary programs as they address different legal issues such as House Bill 5. And as Mr. Hasso mentioned to you, it has become infamous in our office. House House Bill 5, just to give you some context for that, actually was voted on by the legislature in the last legislative session, and it really had three main components. If you remember, you probably read a lot in the newspapers, saw a lot on the news about a year ago when there was a lot of conversation about the number of tests our learners were taking, and the fact that our high school learners, in order to graduate, were going to have to take so many end-of-course exams. And we had a lot of concern by both parents and educators that we were over-testing. And so parents got together, as well as educators across the state, to say enough is enough. And as the legislature was really kind of thinking about and processing, are we testing too much? Do we need to reconsider it? They also took into account the fact that they were receiving some local pressure that we need to do something different with our graduation requirements. Is this an opportunity, if we're going to think about testing our learners differently in order to promote them from high school onto whatever their next journey is in life, do we need to rethink what courses they take in that high school? One of the things that businesses really kind of pressured our legislators on was this notion of college and career readiness. And are we giving learners enough opportunities to expose them to what potential career fields are out there, and are they being able to take a sequence of courses that are going to prepare them for that? The other thing that came from parents speaking about assessment and over-testing was we need to make our local education systems just that. We need to localize them. How do we put the power back in the hands of our local education agencies, back in the hands of our parents? And how do we create a graduation program that's going to reflect the local needs of Coppell Independent School District versus what might a Dallas ISD need, or a South Lake Carroll, or a Harlingen? And so they had both of these pressures going on at the same time. The third component that our legislators were dealing with was accountability. Well, if we change testing and how we report to parents how our districts are doing, we change graduation requirements, then districts are accountable for how they perform in those areas. We're going to also have to adjust our accountability system. So House Bill 5, when it was approved, actually does all three of those. It reduced the number of end-of-course exams that learners have to take in order to graduate from high school. It changed the graduation requirements and gave much more flexibility to local districts to determine what does a learner need from that district in order to move on to the next level. And the third thing it did is it created an additional local accountability system. So in about 3 to 5 weeks, you're going to have the awesome opportunity to hear from me again, in which I share with you new local accountability measures that you as a parent, you as a stakeholder, are going to have an opportunity to view and assess how well we are doing as a district. What are those other measures that you feel like we should be held accountable for in the education of your child? Tonight, our primary focus, and the reason why this is a packed house, is not to talk about the testing or to talk about the local accountability, but it is to focus on the graduation requirements. So the first thing we want to message is that we are excited that we had this opportunity to really, as a district, look internally and decide what is it that we want for our graduates, and how do we design a high school program that's going to lead them there. So this was absolutely a state requirement. This is law that every district had to go through this process. And while it was a significant amount of work for us, we're excited because we have the flexibility to make sure our program meets the needs of our learners. You might be wondering, well, how did they come up with this? Believe it or not, we've been working on this since the fall. We had a committee meeting beginning in October, early October, that was basically comprised of a cross-district, cross-stakeholder representation that began to meet in October and really think about, understand the regulations that the State Board of Education gave to the districts, match that with the demands that we know our parents, our community members would want for us, and custom design that graduation plan. And literally, we have been working on this since that October. We finally had received board approval and a board vote in February. So we are bringing this information to you literally hot off the press. The other important caveat, and I know this is going to shock us because this is not like our state legislators or our state board of education, but we really haven't received all the regs yet. So literally almost daily, I'm receiving a clarification from the State Board of Education that clarifies a certain part of the regulation. So it might determine a change in a grade level or a change in a requirement. And until it is officially posted on the Texas Registry, they can continue to make changes to us. So we were promised that that would be done in January 31st. And then imagine this, they sent out a communication that it would be postponed at least 3 to 4 weeks. And then we received another communication that it would be another 3 to 4 weeks. And as of today, I received 2 more changes that the State Board of Ed had made, and they're still not posted to the Texas Registry. So we hope that you understand that we've done our best with the information we have to create a phenomenal plan for your learners to experience in their high school journey, but there may be little nuances that have to be adjusted once those final regs are posted on the Texas Registry. So we ask for your patience. We ask for your forgiveness as we work through this process for the first time. And the other thing I will just message is that every district in the state is in the same boat as we are. I was in Northwest ISD for a parent meeting that they had, and they were communicating the same thing. So we're not unique in this. This, unfortunately, is just a circumstance of sometimes how our systems work. So with that, I wanted to make sure you have a little bit of background on why we're doing this. This was not just one day, Mr. Hasso, Dr. Shivers at New Tech, myself, we woke up and said, hey, let's have a whole new graduation plan for Coppell. This was a series of events that brought us to this place, and now we're excited to finally bring to you our final product. So as I mentioned from House Bill 5, on the graduation side, there were several different components that we as a district had to look at in the design process. One of those was we first had to make a decision about what we are calling the foundation plan. The foundation graduation plan is this series of credits that every learner must take regardless if they are intending to graduate from New Tech High at Coppell or Coppell High School. Regardless of what area of emphasis, in a minute I'm going to talk to you a little bit more about endorsements, but regardless of an endorsement area your learner wants to pursue, these are the common set of courses that every learner entering 9th grade in Coppell ISD must take, must show evidence on their transcript that they have mastered those courses in order to earn that CISD diploma. So that was our first step, was really thinking about what required courses do we want to have across the board. And we had to analyze everything from social studies to what elective credits to are we going to require speech, technology, etc. So it was a very rigorous process in determining what does every learner need. Every learner need, and how can we provide flexibility in that high school journey in order for them to customize what courses they take that is really going to allow them to meet their needs. One of the things that the regs do say, and we are excited that this gives us an opportunity, is that every learner at the end of their 8th grade year must develop a 4-year plan. They also must declare a endorsement. Now, I know some of you are going, oh my gosh, my child is 14 years old. How do I know what they're going to do when they're 18? They don't know what they're doing tomorrow. I have an 8th grader, and trust me, like, Mom, am I buying or taking my lunch tomorrow? I'm like, I don't know. What are you doing? So trying to think about what potential AP course, or is he going to be an IB, or that can, I'm sure, is as overwhelming for you as it is for me. The intent of the 4-year plan is not that you are, solidifying in stone every course that your learner is taking the next 4 years. It's allowing you to think about, if I might be interested in this particular pathway, how do I make sure to create space early in high school to give me the opportunity to take those courses? So when our Coppell High School counselors get up and share with you, there are some courses, for example, that senior year that are 2 periods or double blocking or with dual credit or with IB. There are certain prerequisites that a learner may need to take, and they may need to take those early in their high school career in order to be set up and be successful to take those courses that junior and senior year. So all we want you to do is to begin to think ahead. We know you're going to adjust that 4-year plan every year, and we want you to. It should be dynamic. It should not be something that is done once and we never look at it again. The same thing holds true with an endorsement. Now, an endorsement is truly an opportunity for your learner to think about what potential pathway might I be interested in, and how can I experience that in a way that gives me depth. There are 3, and I'll talk more specifically about these in a minute, there are 3 career endorsement or pathways, and there are 2 pathways that are more liberal arts. And so we'll talk about the advantage of that, but those are the 2 main things that you're going to be looking at in the next couple of weeks, is your foundation plan and what are the sequence of courses I need to take to meet those requirements, and then what am I going to do for my endorsement. Now, how many of you have older kiddos that have gone through Coppell High School or New Tech and have earned a diploma? Awesome. Well, we have several of you that are veterans. And it used to be that our rookie 9th grade parents could lean on our veterans to say, tell me what to do. Well, now we're all in the same boat. It's all new to all of us. But for our veterans, that should make us feel better, right? We're all going to, live in this together. For our veteran parents, though, there's probably some language that you are familiar with in terms of, think about our DAP program, the Distinguished Achievement Program. And there's other the minimum, the recommended, the distinguished. Those programs get rid of those old mental models because they no longer exist. Our learners have the foundation plan and they have the endorsement. In Coppell ISD, both at New Tech and CHS, we are expecting every learner to earn a distinguished level of achievement. Now, this is not a different diploma. This is simply a level of achievement that tells your college, your university, your certification program that you took the most rigorous course load possible and that you are prepared for whatever next step you may take. So those 3 levels that we used to have of graduation plans, those are no longer in existence. We have a foundation plus endorsement, and that equals a distinguished level of achievement. I see some of you trying to take pictures of this and take notes. Again, let me remind you, this video is going to be posted. The PowerPoint's going to be posted on the website, and we're going to have a ton of other information for you to review, FAQs, all of that will also be posted on the website. Because we know I had to hear it 1,700 times to get it, so I know you may need to hear it more than once as well. Okay, so what does this foundation plan mean? So in CISD, we are requesting that every learner, or not requesting, requiring, every learner have 4 credits of English, math, and science. You are going to see that some of those are very prescriptive. In some areas, we tell you, you have to take these certain courses. So for example, in science, you will have to take biology, chemistry, and physics. Your 4th year of science can be based upon your area of endorsement or your area of interest. So there are some things that we're saying we want calibrated and we want every learner to experience because we believe that that is going to set them up for success in their next level. And there are some courses that we want to give flexibility to. You're going to notice a very significant change to our current graduation requirements in that we are moving from 4 required credits in social studies to 3. Currently, we require world geography, world history, U.S. history, and government and economics. The state of Texas gave us the flexibility to require only world geography or world history. What CISD said was based upon the area of interest or your endorsement plan, we are going to customize which course you take based upon how that is going to support that pathway of courses. So for example, in a minute I'm going to talk to you about that STEM, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, is one of the endorsement areas. The social studies course that we're requiring for STEM is world history because of the content, the curriculum standards best aligns with the work that they're going to be doing in their computer science and their engineering courses in that pathway. So depending upon which endorsement your learner chooses, they are going to choose either world geography or choose world history. And then, of course, U.S. history and government and economics is required. Now, in some of our endorsement plans, all four are required. And again, our CHS counselors will go into more specifics, but there are still some endorsements that do require all 4 years of social studies. Another significant change is on our former Distinguished Achievement Program diploma, learners had to have 3 credits of foreign language. Now for our foundation plan, only 2 credits are required. Only 2 are required. Now, many of you may read, and I know some of you are gonna do your homework, and if you do, may the force be with you because it's some heavy nighttime reading. But if you go to try to read House Bill 5, one of the things that you will read in the regs is that learners could earn their foreign language credit either through what we classify as a typical language other than English, such as Spanish, French, Chinese, etc., or they could earn it through computer science. In Coppell ISD, we are not allowing computer science to count because there are very few colleges and universities that acknowledge that as a foreign language. So when your child would try to do their admissions, the college would say, you are not meeting our requirements because you did not take 2 languages that are other than English. So that is the level of complexity that we went through in the decision making of this. So again, only 2 years are required. Of course, you can take more, and there are certain distinctions that you can earn that can really reward you for taking more courses, but only 2 are required for the foundation. And then, of course, 1 credit of PE, 1 credit of fine arts, and then you have the endorsement requirements and the electives. Technology is not required, speech is not required, health is not required. So what our goal is not that we don't think those things are important, because we absolutely do, and our counselors will be talking about a course that we're going to be embedding those professional communication standards in, because we do believe our kids need to understand how to communicate both in the written and the verbal word. And again, same thing with health. We absolutely will be embedding those things in other ways, but we wanted to make sure is that learners had the flexibility to take courses that really interested them and things that they wanted to explore, not just things that, checked off a checkbox in a registration form. So those are what is required in our foundation plan. So again, what is an endorsement? Just to simplify the term for you a little bit, an endorsement is just an opportunity for your learner to experience depth in a particular area. So in our current graduation plans, learners could literally kind of pick and choose from multiple different courses and multiple different electives that they wanted. They could take a marketing course, then they could jump over and take a business course, and they could jump over and take a computer science course. Now, learners still have the option to do that in this plan, but for learners who think, I really want to experience something in a pathway to see what it could really build towards. I may really want to have an opportunity to have an internship or a practicum that allows me to experience this in the world beyond the 4 walls of Coppell High School or New Tech. This plan gives that, and you can see the 5 endorsements are listed above. You can earn a fine arts endorsement. So for our learners that take 4 years of band, 4 years of dance, 4 years of choir, etc., you can earn an endorsement through that. You can earn an endorsement through business and industry. Business and industry, there are certain clusters or areas of emphasis that your learner can even specify even more. So they can choose first, I think I'm interested in business. I think I want to pursue something in business. They have their freshman year to kind of experience it all. And then after that ninth grade year, then they can even go down and even almost major in something a little bit more specifically. And again, our counselors will go into more detail on that. You have a public service endorsement, which are things like right now what you think of in terms of our health science. And then you have science, technology, engineering, and math. And then finally, you have multidisciplinary. Multidisciplinary endorsement is a liberal arts endorsement, so to speak. It is our learners that are interested in the International Baccalaureate program. If potentially your learner is interested in the AP Scholar program, or potentially your learner may not be exactly sure what pathway they want to pursue in high school, so they want a general curriculum overview. The multidisciplinary will require 4 years of math, science, social studies, 4 years of social studies, as well as the science, and then they can randomly choose their electives from different endorsement areas because they want this broad overview of a high school experience. Okay, I know you have 100 questions about each of these, and we're going to give you some more detail in a minute, but I wanted to give you an overview and just kind of help you understand. This is just an opportunity for your learner to almost kind of declare, this is an area I think I'm going to be interested in, and I want to take a certain pathway of courses that is going to allow me to experience that with depth. Okay, you might be asking, okay, you mentioned a little bit about the different things that my learner can be recognized for, and if we're not having these levels of diplomas, what does that mean? One of the things that the state has done, and this is one of the things literally I just got some clarification in the regs, our learners will on their transcript be awarded what are just being called diploma distinctions or performance acknowledgments. And these are just an opportunity for learners who, for example, take dual credit courses, can demonstrate proficiency in bilingualism or biliteracy. Maybe they perform well on some AP or IB exams. They may demonstrate college readiness as defined by ACT or SAT. And this is a way simply for us publicly to recognize your learners for those accomplishments. And they are just going to be noted on your learner's transcript. So we have not even been given the codes for that yet. We don't know exactly what that's going to look like, but we have finally received how can we do that? What kind of score is it on an AP exam? At what level for a dual credit performance acknowledgement do I have to earn a B in that course? Or is it just successful completion? So those regs literally just came out, and we will be publishing that in an FAQ on our website. So what will you be seeing in your course guide? Again, whether your learner is choosing New Tech High at Coppell for their 4 years of high school or Coppell High School, your learners, as well as you, will be receiving a document that looks very similar to the one on the screen, and I know it's itty-bitty font, but basically this is just an overview of the foundation plan and the endorsements. This is going to be what your learners are filling out in their 4-year plan and what you're going to be helping your learners fill out in the they're filling it out. You're there as a guide and a support. They're the ones filling it out. But this is what they will be doing when they meet with the counselors, and you have your parent meetings with them as well. And this just helps them identify, here are the courses I think I'm going to take, here's my endorsement area that I think I'm most interested in, and here's what I expect from my 4-year journey. Again, I know it sounds pretty complicated, but I promise you our counselors have done a phenomenal job of really simplifying the process and trying to make it as easy for you and as easy for your learners as possible, because we want this to be a seamless transition for them. We know that what a difficult thing it can be moving from 8th grade to 9th grade, and we don't want this to be something that is a weight for you or for your learners. So we intend to fill you with information. We are going to be sending that to you over time, because we know there's only so much you can process at once. So there will be more and more that's posted on the website, more and more that's available to you at each meeting. That way you feel like you're really making informed decisions. And with that, thank you all very, very much for attending. I hope this information was helpful to you.
Good evening. Wow, this is an amazing group. This is great. My name is Kayla Brown. I'm the associate principal here at Coppell High School. In addition to being the associate, I am also a mother of two boys, one at Coppell West and one at Cottonwood Creek. So I am very passionate about these decisions that have been made. So just to assure you, it doesn't come, we all have our children, and I've got them here in Coppell ISD. So there's a lot of decisions that I've, not only are there over 3,000 kids at this campus, but I've got my two sons, my two boys also who are coming up in the system. So it's an exciting time. Just to kind of break into what CHS will be doing, I'm going to still keep with the kind of the global concept of House Bill 5 for you, and then I'm going to turn it over to our counselors to really to break it down for you a little bit more. So you're probably wondering what are the endorsements that CHS have chosen? As Ms. Branham noted, there are 5 endorsements that the state say you can offer, those being STEM. This is right here: STEM, business and industry, public service, fine arts, and multidisciplinary. We at Coppell High School will be offering all 5 endorsements. You're probably wondering, well, why are we offering all 5 of those endorsements? Because the beauty of coming to Coppell ISD is that we have the available, the staff, we have the equipment, we have everything, all the resources that we need to provide your learner with, to have these different choices, the different options for each endorsement. We had a collaboration, collaborated between New Tech and the district so that we're not overlapping or competing with some of the endorsements. So for example, the STEM endorsement will not be offered here at CHS and at New Tech. We will be offering the STEM endorsement, so you won't see any kind of competing two endorsements. Just to introduce you to some vocabulary, I know Ms. Branham noted one, the endorsements, which we've been speaking a lot about. But if you will look, I know Ms. Branham alluded to this a little bit about clusters. So you will, once your learner chooses an endorsement, under each endorsement will be clusters. So their first year, there will be an introductory course. It'll be, for example, Introduction to STEM, and the counselors will go in more in depth with this. But for example, you have Introduction to STEM. Well, in that course, there will be exposure into what does the engineering strand look like or cluster look like, and what does the computer science cluster offer for your learner. Also, in this introductory course, every freshman will be required to take this introductory course. So if your child selects public service, their freshman year, one of their electives will be introductory into public service. And within that, they will be exposed to all of these clusters. So for public service, for example, one of the clusters is education. We will be offering at CHS pre-law, health science, and public safety. For business and industry, underneath that we will offer business, marketing, arts, AV, technology, and animation and gaming. For fine arts, we will have the band, dance, theater arts, choir, and art. And Ms. Branham spoke about multidisciplinary, where we offer the liberal arts, AP Scholar, and IB diploma. And as I earlier mentioned, STEM will have the engineering and computer science clusters or strands. I want to go back to that introductory course and really talk to you just a little bit about that, because every freshman will be required to enroll into one of those introductory classes. Not only will that class expose your child to the different clusters within that endorsement, but they will also learn the different communication, learn how to communicate. It's a transition But based on some of the learner surveys from our current freshmen and past freshmen, just that transition to this huge school it's a big transition. So we want to offer kind of that homeroom type, that home feeling of, here's the classroom. Not only are we, exposing you to the different clusters within this, but we're going to work on study skills, computer, digital citizenship. So there's going to be a whole wide range. We're going to have guest speakers that will come in and really expose the learners to what all those the endorsement has to offer. In your course guide, this is very small as well, but you will see this in the course guide. This is what it will look like when you are reading about what these endorsements are and what they offer. So like at the top, for example, the endorsement for STEM, you will see the cluster, and then here's engineering, and here's computer science. Remember on the two, we had engineering, computer science. So you'll see which clusters are offered, and then underneath it, you will also see which clusters, what are those coherent sequence of elective courses that are required to fulfill the requirements of each endorsement or of that cluster. And then under here, that's where your math, science, ELA, social studies, and it will go into more detail. But I wanted to really just give you a snapshot of what that looks like, because we're saying a lot of language, a lot of vocabulary, but this is what that form will look like when you do view the course guide. I'm going to step away now from the global aspect and turn this over to our counselor friends, who will go into more detail for you about the registration process and really break down this a little bit more clear for you. Ms. Lansdowne.
Okay, I'm Mrs. Thurlkill, and I'm the freshman counselor for A through K. And so let's go ahead and start this process of what your ninth grader can expect. So what do you need to know as the parents of a ninth grader? So let's talk about some general information. One thing that I want you to know is that when you're talking about your learner's GPA, okay, grade point average, that includes all high school classes that they have taken for credit. That includes any middle school class taken for high school credit. And that includes any credit by exam and correspondence course that have been taken. And this will count as an on-level class. Now, what you need to know is that your learner will not know their GPA until the second semester of their sophomore year. Okay? Class rank. CHS ranks only the top percent of the class. The rank is calculated for the first time the second semester of their 10th grade year. And when you see the course description book, and that's going to be on the website very soon, towards the front of that course description book is going to be a list of classes that count towards the rank. Remember, with the GPA, everything counts. Rank, there are certain classes that count. They're going to be listed in the course description book. And when you look throughout the course description book, there's going to be that little R symbol right there to let you know that that will feed into the class rank. What our focus is for our freshmen is to create a good, solid base. And from that base, they'll be able to have many choices and opportunities from there. So let's see what this looks like. How many of you are nervous about picking out an endorsement or your child picking out an endorsement, okay? Let's kind of break this down a little bit. So how do you go about doing that? For some of you in here, that is going to be a very easy process, because ever since your child could talk, they have said things like, I'm going to be a doctor. And they're still saying that. Or I'm going to be a journalist, okay? So it's going to be very easy for you to do that. For some of you, it may be more of a process. Like, for example, maybe the best friend of the family is a lawyer, and your child is around them all of the time. They can't get enough. That might be a tip. Or maybe they're interested in doing something with business. But there's some other ways that you can figure this out. The middle schools have done an excellent job on so many different levels of exploring your learners to career opportunities. I know some schools have career fairs. I also know that the middle schools have been working on doing some career exploratory inventories, and you may want to talk to your learner about those results. Or there may be some other ways that every time you go to open house, the teachers say, man, your child really has a gift for, kind of fill in the blank. That could be a tip as to an endorsement to look at. The other thing is the chart that Mrs. Brown just showed you, that's going to be for each one of the endorsements, that shows the endorsements, the clusters, the classes. That's going to be in the course description book, and it may be sitting down with your learner and going through those charts with them individually and talking about what's on there. All right, so here are some steps that you can use as picking out the endorsements. Let's talk about how you're going to pick out the classes, and we're going to walk you through this step. One of the things that I want you to keep in mind is that your student will have a 7-period day. They're going to take 7 classes, and they're going to have an opportunity to earn 7 credits. So the magic number for you is going to be what? 7, okay? All right. Let's look at how this is going to work. Everybody in this room, I mean, there is no exception, is going to take an endorsement for an introductory course. Every one of you. All right? And when Ms. Lansdale shows you that registration form in just a minute, we're going to walk you through that process. So there's one class that you have to pick out. English. Every one of you in here, your learner is going to take an English class. They're going to take English 1. Moving on. Everyone in here, your learner is going to take a math class. Now, your learner will be taking different levels of math. We're going to have some students that are going to be taking algebra. Some are going to be ready for geometry. Some are going to be on Algebra 2. And we're going to have some that are going to do pre-cal. But regardless of where your learner is in math, everyone in here is going to take a math class. Now we're to science. Same thing. Everyone in here, your student is going to take a science class. They're going to take biology. If you look at my list, we're over halfway finished. Do you feel better already? Okay, this wasn't as hard as you thought it was going to be. All right, now we're going to get to social studies. This is going to be something that you're going to have to pay attention to. So you get to the social studies part, and on the registration form, we've written in a prompt that's going to show you your endorsement and then the social studies requirements that go with that endorsement. So you're going to have a prompt. You also are going to look in your course guide at that chart again, and it's going to guide you through your social studies class that your learner is going to take next year. There's going to be some of you in here, your learner is not going to take a social studies class next year. Some will start with world geography. Some will start with world history. How are you going to know again? You're going to look at the prompt on the registration form. You're going to turn to the endorsement in the course guide, and you're going to write it down. How many of you are perfectionists in here and you don't want to make a mistake? Okay? Another safety net. As the middle school counselors are sitting there going over their registration forms, they're going to be looking for those things and to let you know. I promise you, you will not ruin your child's life. Okay? It's going to be okay. All right, now we're down to the part, depending on how many classes that you have written down, there may be some other options. And so an option is it time for my learner to start their foreign language? It may be. And so that may be something that you want to start next year. Some kids just aren't quite mature enough yet. They can't, just coming to the high school and opening up their locker and getting to the classes they need to be in, getting their homework, that may be enough for the first year. And so the option may be, we may wait on that. Okay, so you're going to have some options on the when to start your foreign language. There are some other electives. There's going to be students in here that are going to be in the band program. Okay, they're going to be playing football. That gives you your options to fill those spaces in there. And then you're finished. Feeling a little bit better? Okay, let's move on to the next slide. So this is where we are with the process. You have picked out the endorsement. You're picking out the classes. Here's the next piece. What level of classes do you want your learner to take? And so you have some choices. So let's look at them. And what you need to know that in all of these choices, they are set up for your learner to be college bound. Let's look at them. So one choice is on-level classes. And in those classes, there may be a little bit more repetition. There may be a little bit more modeling. Will those classes get my learner to college? Yes. Let's look at your next choice. Pre-AP and IB prep classes. Those are open enrollment. So what that means is that you simply choose that class for your learner. You can sign up for it. Those classes are going to be more challenging. All right? They may move at a little bit faster pace. And they're preparing learners for the AP and IB level classes. Other choices. AP, IB classes. These are the most rigorous classes that we have here at CHS. Your learner cannot start IB next year. That doesn't start until 11th grade. Currently, we have an AP class for the AP Human Geography. Okay, so that would be a class to look at. These classes are for kids who have good reading skills. They're going to be doing college-level work. There's not going to be a fight every night about doing homework, okay? They're ready to take these challenging classes. So you have your classes, and now you need to decide what level you want to do, and you can mix and match. Maybe they want to take an on-level math class, but they want to take a pre-AP English class. If your student is a GT learner, then you have the option also to sign them up for GT classes. But they must be in or qualify for the GT program before they can sign up for those classes.
Hi, everyone. I'm going to go through the registration process, actually filling out the worksheet that your student will be receiving in the next couple of weeks. I don't know that you're going to be able to see it real clearly, but again, this information will be posted so you'll have access to it. But your child will be coming home with the physical form, so you'll be able to see it much better. It's really tiny. I warned you. Okay. I'm going to use my handy pointer here, though. The top part of the form is just information. Child's name, the middle school they are attending currently, email address, phone number, where can we reach them in the summer if we come back in July and August and we're working on schedules, we run across a problem. How can we reach you or your child to find out some information if we need to? And just some other information there too, student ID, things of that nature. The next thing, and this is very, very, very important, so please listen here. This part right here, it's numbered 1 through 4. You may have nothing to put there. You may have more than 4 to put there. But that question is asking your student, have you received any high school credits in middle school? So is your student taking Algebra 1 in 8th grade right now? Did your student receive credit for Spanish 1 in 7th grade through a credit by exam? Whatever the case is, if your student is coming to us with any high school credits, please let us know that so that we can make sure that they are in the appropriate classes. Okay? Yes? Anything that they take at the tech part will show on their transcript. It's not a requirement, so it's not going to be as important as the Algebra 1, the Spanish, anything else that they've completed at the middle school level. Okay, I'm going to have to read my notes just so I can tell you what's there. Just a few things it tells you on the first part right under that 1, 2, 3, 4. Please complete this in pencil. They're going to go through what we've done with the registration form. If you've seen one in the past, if you've had previous students here, they actually write in every course and course number. We've tried to simplify the process for our incoming 9th graders. The first part of it is just going through and circling the course that they want. The course number is attached to that, which makes it really, really helpful, and I think it will make just for a cleaner, simpler process for everyone. And you'll notice we have it here, course 1, course 2, course 3, course 4. So again, you're aligning with that 7-period day that Mrs. Thurlkill mentioned a few minutes ago. The first course is going to be their introductory course that they will take. Again, every student will take for their endorsement. And so what you will see on the form is the name of the endorsement that they're choosing, because on this line, they're choosing the endorsement, they're choosing the introductory class. Okay, it's a 2-for-1 combo on this line. So the first one is for the endorsement is the STEM. So their STEM endorsement and then the intro to STEM class. So they're going to circle that. Boxes 2, 3, and 4. Courses 2, 3, and 4. That's the English, because everyone is going to take English. It's math and it's science. Those are the 4 courses that everyone will be taking. Introductory, English, math, science. Okay? So that's the easy part. You go through and circle. You'll see multiples listed here because we've given every option that we offer. English 1 pre-AP, English 1 pre-AP GT. Okay, so your child will see every option that's available in each of those subject areas. Okay, now the bottom part is the elective area and the social studies piece. That's where it's going to be very critical for your student to identify the course that they want, as well as the course number, which will be in the course guide. And the course guide will be posted to your middle school website, the high school website, so you will have access to that information when your student goes to fill out this form. Okay? Now, Mrs. Thurlkill and several actually tonight have mentioned the social studies piece of that. That's what this whole section is right here. And it's going to be titled Electives and Social Studies, because remember, not every 9th grader has to do a social studies next year. Our multidisciplinary endorsement, they must choose a geography class. It can be on-level world geography, pre-AP geography, AP human geography. They'll have those 3 options. But everyone else outside of multidisciplinary will have some flexibility. Because keep in mind, English, math, and science, how many credits do you have to have? 4. So every year they're doing English, math, science. Social studies, with the exception of multidisciplinary, you only have to have 3. So they may take it 9th, 11th, and 12th, or they might do 10th, 11th, and 12th. You'll have that flexibility, okay? And that's explained more clearly on here. It has each endorsement listed, and then it gives the options. So if your child is, let's say they're doing STEM, and I keep saying STEM because it's the first one on my list, so I'm not partial to STEM children. So here is, okay, so STEM is listed right here, and it's going to have every option of the world geography class. For STEM, for example, that is going to be the world history class that they would take in 9th grade or in 10th grade, but it has every option of world history that we offer. So again, they can go in and circle if they choose to do world history. If they choose not to do that, there is a place here that they can do. It's the course 5. They can actually write in the world history, or they can write in an elective. Okay, so they have that flexibility. The next line you're going to see, course 6, is going to be elective or LOT, language other than English. If your child does want to, if they've done Spanish at the middle school level and they want to continue with that next year, super. If they're starting a new language and they want to start in 9th grade and not wait until 10th grade, fantastic. Have them write that in that box for us, along with the course number. Again, where are you going to find the course number? Very good. If they don't want to do language, they have other options for electives. Their fine arts, their PEs, their sport, whatever it is that they're interested in doing, debate, several options there. Course 7, that is just an open elective. So if they are doing their introductory course, English, math, and science, they are starting their social studies, they are doing a foreign language, they have one more spot. That's that course 7. If they're a football player, put it on there. If it's track, if it's band, if it's art, whatever it is that they're taking, that's where they're going to put that information. At the bottom, you're going to sign. Your learner is going to sign, and the parent's going to sign as well. You'll turn that back into the middle school counselors. They'll give you those specifics of when that's due, okay? All right, schedule change policy. We're going to sound really mean, but let me explain. We have over 3,000 students that we're trying to build a master schedule for. So as we collect those requests that students are giving us, it's critical that they really spend time thinking about what it is that they want to take, talking about it as a family. That's why we start with this process, so you have the information you need. The middle schools, when they're coming over for shadow days, the learners, we will give them this information as well. So we try to do as much education as possible so that they can make good choices for their future year, okay? This schedule change policy is not just for 9th grade, it's for everybody. This is our campus policy. So no changes will be made after the last day of this current school year. The policy will be located in the course guide, should you forget, but it's located in the course guide. And also, it will be on the back of your child's course selection worksheet, the form that we just practiced filling out. It's on the back of that as well. So when you sign approving your students' courses, you're also agreeing to that schedule change policy. Level changes for students who maybe they bit off a little more than they can chew and they signed up for everything pre-AP, and then they realize, oh my goodness, 9th grade is hard. So they get here, they're struggling. We do give them the opportunity at the end of the first 6 weeks. We will make announcements that level change forms are available. There are strict deadlines to those level change forms, so they want to make sure they're listening for announcements. And come by and pick up the forms, have you sign it, have the teacher sign it, student signs it, turn that back into us. We'll do that again at semester. If they want to push through that first semester and see how they're doing in January, then we'll offer that option again. Keep in mind, if your student signs up for a GT class, GT and pre-AP classes are the same level of course. So if a student is in a GT class, leveling down does not mean going to pre-AP. Okay? If they're in a GT pre-AP level course, leveling down is going to an on level. So I just want to make sure we're clear on that because that often causes confusion. Same for IB Prep. IB Prep does not move to pre-AP. Pre-AP doesn't go to IB Prep. Those are all lateral changes. So you can only move down to an on level course. Okay, I've talked a little bit about the course planning guide. I want to make sure you're clear when you see it what all will be in that course planning guide. We've created it as a tool for you to have not only now, but really as a guide throughout. And every year we rewrite that course guide to make sure that you have the information that you need to best help support your child. In the front of the course planning guide, you'll have just general information. We talk about GPA, class rank, some of the information that we shared tonight. The charts, I can't stress enough how important these charts for each endorsement area are. I spent several months at the beginning of the year going, oh my goodness, this House Bill 5, I will never understand it. But I tell you what, after I saw the charts, made a world of difference. That will become your new best friend. And there is a chart for every endorsement area. So look for that when you get the course guide. There are descriptions for each of the courses that are available to your child. Within the course description, you'll see prerequisites, if there are any for that particular class. 9th grade, most classes don't have a prereq because they haven't had a chance yet. But in future years, you'll see a lot more of that. You'll also see the grade level that the class is available to. Credits, if it's a class for a half credit, 0.5, or for a full credit. The majority of classes are 1 full credit. A lot of the exceptions would be your PE classes where individual sports would be a half, team sports would be a half. Level of class, it will say on there if it's a non-level class, it's just the name, like geometry, for example, and then the level would be 2. Because you'll see in the course guide, there's a GPA chart, and that's also very important. But it tells you how many points each class gets based on the grade that you make in that class and based on what level of class it is. So level 2 or on-level courses, level 3 would be your pre-APs, IB preps, and your level 4s would be your AP and your IB. Okay? As you embark on this course planning in the next few weeks, these resources are going to be so helpful to you and helpful to your child. The course planning guide, again, so helpful. That's where all of your information is. There will be, in the information coming home with your learner from the middle schools, we have a document that will show who they need to contact if they're getting involved in something that may require a tryout or may require pre-approval for whatever reason. So it will have coaches' information, sponsors' information. That will come home with the registration piece, so you'll have that as well. And then on our website, again, everything that we're doing tonight will be posted. The PowerPoint will be posted. The course guide will be posted, as well as the video of tonight. So we always try to keep that information current and accessible to you. Just to kind of give you a timeline of where we are this week and what's going to be coming in the next few weeks. And you may have heard already, you may not have heard. So just to kind of make sure we're all on the same page. Last night we had our Coppell High School Learner Showcase. Tonight, obviously, is the 8th grade parent meeting. March 25th through the 27th, Mr. Hasso talked about earlier, next week we'll have our shadow days here at Coppell High School, where your middle schooler will come over here, be able to tour the building, hear from Ms. Thurlkill and I about a lot of the same information you're hearing tonight, so that you all can better discuss it as a family. Following the shadow days, your learners will receive their registration materials, again, that the worksheet, the course selection worksheet, as well as the document with the sponsors and coaches' names, and any other information that they may need to fill out the course worksheet. And their counselors will let them know, because each middle school may have a different due date, so they will let them know when those course selection worksheets are due back. April 14th through the 17th, we're going to be working. If you haven't heard from your middle schools already, you will be hearing from them. But we're going to invite you to a small group meeting. We're going to plan to have about 10 families in each meeting, where we can really look at the 4-year plan. Tonight, we're kind of focusing on just the registration for next year. But then we can sit down again and really look at that 4-year plan. What does it look like for my child if he or she is starting in business and industry now? What does that look like for a senior year? So we'll talk more about that. You'll get more information, but that will be the week of April 14th. In early May, your child will receive a verification form. And the verification form is an opportunity for your student, maybe over the month of April, they've turned in their course selection worksheet, and then they think, oh my gosh, what have I done? I don't want to do STEM. So they've decided to make some changes, and that's okay because it's not the last day of school yet. So on the verification form, that will show everything they've signed up for. They can make changes to that form, and then they'll turn that back into their middle school counselors. We'll get that information and make sure the courses are changed in the system based on that final request. Okay? Okay, if you have any questions between now and May 5th, please continue to contact your child's middle school counselor. After May 5th, everything's going to kind of transition over here to the high school. So should you have any questions after that date, please contact Ms. Thurlkill. Contact me. You can see we're broken up by alpha. Ms. Thurlkill has A through K, last names beginning with A through K, and I have last names beginning with L through Z. Our email addresses are on the website. That really is the best way to get in touch with us. So please send us any questions you have at that time.
Once again, we started off by thanking you for your time. You guys have been troopers putting up with us and learning about all of these new graduation requirements. We really appreciate your attentiveness. All of this information, we understand. If you're anything like me, I would be in your shoes. And by the way, I have a 7th grader, so I'm facing all of these same dilemmas in about a year. So we've already started talking at my house about it. And much like Miss Brown's kids, apparently, my son really probably doesn't know what he's going to have for dinner tonight, much less what endorsement he wants to pick. But we're going to get there. And I'm sure that you're going to get there with your child, and we're here to help you with that. Luckily, it's not a one and done. You've got a little bit of flexibility if you start down one path and you decide later on that that's not really the choice that you want. This information, everything from the video of this presentation, the PowerPoint, I believe there's also going to be a video posted to our website specifically related to the advanced academic courses that are offered, because we know that's a huge part of this equation for many of you, whether your child will sign up for GT classes, pre-AP classes, IB classes eventually, or AP classes. I thought Ms. Thurlkill did a great job of trying to provide you some comfort in talking to you from the simplest common denominator, if you will, 7. Your child's going to go to 7 classes. So that's the number one thing, one of the first things that you need to worry about. What 7 classes are we going to sign up for? And what one endorsement are we going to start off with? And that's the start of our journey together. And it's going to be an incredibly fun journey. Sometimes it's going to be an incredibly harrowing journey. We'll be up late at night with projects. You'll be up late at night frustrated with us because of projects. And eventually, we'll all come together if we stay in the same location, at the University of North Texas. And in the blink of an eye, we'll be talking to you about graduation announcements, caps and gowns, tassels, all of those wonderful things. But none of that starts till we pick how many classes? 7. How many endorsements? 1. Boy, this is a GT group already. All right, well, we didn't even need to have this meeting. Once again, we'll post all of this information. We'll send your children home with hard copies of the course sign-up, all of those different kind of things. Believe me, we want to be as responsive and helpful as we can. We appreciate your time, and have a great evening. Thank you for coming.